I'm the Story Girl, and welcome to the story of the real princess. Just so you know, this story also goes by another name. See if you can figure it out before the end. There once was a prince, Prince Peter, and everybody believed that this Prince Peter indeed was perfect. In fact, he was known far and wide. Not in his own family circles, of course. He was known far and wide, not to his face, of course, as Perfect Peter. Perfect Peter not only had the looks and the strength, but he also had the courtly manner and the polite bearing that made him perfect. And wherever he went, all the princesses swooned and fell over themselves, hoping to catch his eye, because who wouldn't want to be married to a person whose first name was Perfect? Well, that sounded nice to a lot of princesses, but Perfect Peter was concerned. It seemed that no matter where he went, women were falling all over themselves to get his attention. Not that he didn't mind the attention and making new friends, but he didn't want to marry just anyone. He wanted to marry a princess. He didn't want to marry just any princess either. He wanted to marry a real princess. And he had met all kinds of women, but he was pretty sure that the women who were nasty, the women who were unkind, the women who never gave out food and clothes to the poor couldn't possibly be real princesses. He traveled the world for a time searching for a real princess, but no matter what, looking through all the princesses, he found that not one of them measured up to his expectation of what a princess really should be. He went home to his mother and he said, "Mother, could it be possible that there's no such thing as a true princess?" "Oh, my darling, of course there is. Before I was a queen, I was a true princess, wasn't I?" "Yes, Mother, but I just traveled the world and met so many women with the first name of Princess, but none of them were kind. None of them were generous. None of them were tender-hearted. How could they truly be princesses?" "Oh, my son, you should have asked me. I know the test, the only test that works to see if a princess is a true princess, to see if a princess is a real princess. It's a very simple test. The next time you meet a princess who you feel like might be a true princess, we'll give her this test." "Oh, very well, Mother, but what if, after all that, I don't like her?" "Like her? Of course you will like her. She will be a real princess for my Peter." Well, Peter went to bed. The whole castle was asleep, except for the sentry duty guards, except for the servants scurrying around with their final preparations for the next day. And a storm broke out. Rain pounded down on the roof of the castle. Thunder boomed out across the countryside. It was so loud and so wet, they almost missed the sound of a knocking at the door. Most of the servants had gone to bed. There was only a few guards on sentry. They opened up the doors and saw standing there a very wet, bedraggled young woman. "Excuse me," she said. "It's very wet outside, isn't it? And I'm very far from home. Could Could it be possible that I could spend the night here? Just one night? Well, said the sentry, well, it's not my castle. I'll go wake the queen. I'll go wake the prince. The castle belongs to them. And so the sentry went, woke the queen and the prince, and they came out to see the girl soaked and miserable. Oh, my dear, you must come in. You must come in and dry yourself. My son, will you not welcome our guest? Well, the son was staring at this girl, for even though she was soaked, even though she was wet, her face glowed with a beauty he had never seen before. Peter? Peter? Oh, yes, Mother. Oh, please come in. Please come in and come and warm yourself by the fire. Well, the queen was seen getting this girl some dry clothes. Peter was sitting next to her by the fire. Maid, tell me about yourself. Who are you? Oh, I'm a princess from a faraway kingdom. I'm afraid that I don't know my way because I've come from so far. What? You're a princess? Could it be possible that this very wet, very alone, very bedraggled girl could be a true princess, a real princess? One moment. Peter stood up and trotted off to find his mother. Mother, he said, she says she's a princess. Could it be possible that she, bedraggled and alone as she is, could be a real princess? Peter, we will put her to the test. And the queen continued her arrangements for where the girl would sleep for the night. When all the arrangements had been made, it took a bit longer than she thought it would, but when all the arrangements had been made, the queen swept back next to the fire and swept the girl away to the room she'd be staying in for the night. You'll be staying in here, my dear, one of our loveliest guest rooms. I hope you find it quite comfortable. I laid out some pajamas for you. Just make yourself at home. And she pushed the girl in and snapped the door shut. Well, the girl walked into the room, looked around, saw something she'd never seen before in her life. Of course, she had seen a bed before. She had seen many beds before. But never before had she seen a bed with full 20 mattresses, one piled up on top of the other. Never before had she witnessed on top of the 20 mattresses a full 100 downy comforters stacked one on top of the other. The bed was so high, a little ladder had been set there for her use so she could get to the top. Oh, that's a tall bed. Well, must be very comfortable. This is the best guest room they have. The queen said so. Well, the princess changed into her pajamas and climbed to the top of the bed, laid down for the night. Well, the next morning, the prince was agitated. The next morning, the prince was pacing back and forth. When his mother walked in, he said, "Mother, she's so beautiful and so kind and so well-mannered. I don't know if we need to give her the test this morning. She may not pass the test. It may be a difficult test for her to pass." "Oh, my son, didn't I tell you? The test was already occurring." "What?" "Yes, it took place last night. I should have said something to you, tipped you off. Of course you would have known about my secret princess test." "Mother, you mean you gave her a test in the night? How could it be?" You will see," said the queen. "Just watch our girl when she comes down for breakfast." You will see. Well, they waited at the breakfast table and the princess came down. "Oh, excuse me," she yawned. "I'm sorry. I'm so late for breakfast." "Oh, my dear, we're so happy to have you at our castle. How did you sleep?" Your Majesty, I'm very appreciative of all the kindnesses that you've shown me, but I didn't sleep well at all. There was a horrid lump right in the middle of my bed, and I couldn't get comfortable. I tossed and turned all night. "Ah!" said the queen, and she held up the princess's hand and said, "Peter, this is a real princess, a true princess of the first magnitude." "What?" said Peter. And the queen led them all into the bedroom with the 20 mattresses and the 100 downy covers, and slipped her hand in the very bottom mattress and pulled out a pea. She was so tender-hearted, she was so delicate and kind that she could feel a pea under 20 mattresses. Well, the princess test worked. That very next month, the perfect Prince Peter and the princess he had found in the rain were married. And what happened to the pea, you ask? They put it in a museum. It's still there, if someone hasn't stolen it. The end. I'm the Story Girl, and just like I promised, we're doing a month of princess stories, and you probably figured out that the other title for this story is The Princess and the Pea. But the original version is called The Real Princess, because the whole test with the pea is to test to see if she's a real princess. Would you test someone this way? Hide a pea under somebody's bed and see if they can feel it. Thank you for joining the story today. If you would like to watch more of my stories, subscribe to my channel. I post stories every single Tuesday. Go ahead, subscribe to my channel. Follow me on social media, The Story Girl, story with an I. Thank you for joining the story. Bye.